Hey YouTube, hope you're doing well. It's January 9th 2020, so early in the year. As you can tell by the short sleeves, it's pretty warm out here. I think it's about 65 or so. Cooper's even out here hanging out with us. Poor guy, he don't have a lot of hair, bless his heart. So today I finally got fed up with getting mud in my face and my ears and nose and everywhere else, and my wife's sister's husband, Nick, Tricky Nicky, he caught a rock in his eye because of the tires. Got one in there, in the front tire actually, and as he was turning, it slung up and hit him in the corner of the eye. Very painful, made his whole eye red. Lucky it wasn't horrible, but time to do something about it. So I bought some Rokblokz Fender flares, and they sent me some Smarties, which I do appreciate because I don't eat a lot of sweet stuff, but I do like Smarties. And they also sent me an air freshener. So nice touch. So today I got to put the Fender flares on. We've got the hardware. I chose all black Fender flares. I chose these little blue accents here as we bolt things down. I thought those would look good. And these things come with a template. Here's an example of one. So you got this little piece you knock out. And once you remove it, it tells you to take a 1/8 drill bit or mark it, either way with a marker, so that you can tell where you've got to put, where you need to drill your holes. And so, first of all, I'm going to start doing that. Yeah, my razor's a little dirty. It's not the end of the world, but all right. So this is how it goes. You knock those out, put it down through there, and you make a hole there. I'm gonna put them on here. I'm gonna clamp them down like they instruct, and then drill them out and begin to put the Fender flares there. I'm predicting it's probably about a 6 beer process. I do not know where this came from, but it is a HVAC company's koozie. All right, so now that I've drilled my 1/8 hole, i.e. the pilot holes, I was off right there just a little bit, so I had to reset and check it about 5 times just to make sure I was comfortable with it. Now that the 1/8 holes are drilled per the instructions, right? I know I'm a guy, we don't follow instructions, but I'm trying to do this the right way because I want it to look correctly. Next, I'm going to use a 1/4 drill bit to bore out each hole that I just made, and then I'm going to start putting in the retaining hardware. I drilled my holes, and then I use a 40mm bolt here and here, which is hole 2, 3, and 5, and I used a 30mm instead of a 40 here in 1 and 4. All right, so again, to recap, 1/8 pilot hole, then a 1/4 drill bit to make it larger. You thread these down in with an Allen wrench, put your fender in place, and then you come back and put your template here, and it helps to hold, it gives it structural integrity. And you're also putting your anodized washer and then your locking nut there, and then you tighten it up, so it gives it a much better coverage. So beforehand you only had this much, now you've got it coming out here, which is 3/4 of the tire roughly. So also you have to bend it here, and so I used a heat gun to bend that. I heated it up just a little bit and bent that. In the instructions it tells you to bend it a little more, so it's for a cleaner look. It's cool outside, plastic doesn't bend well, and so I bent it, make it look a little cleaner and crisp. And so next I'll be mounting this lower part as well. But I do like the blue anodized, looks good. All right, so here's where we're at. So I got them in, they look good. I could have got black instead of the blue anodized. washers or whatever you call them, but I like that blue. They went on really well. The challenge, a couple things. I had to loosen this bolt here to get everything up in there. The template you use, it goes between, after you mark it on top and drill it, it goes between the fender and the hardware here. So it works well. It's a little challenging down here. What I actually wound up doing down here was putting the template in place, or not the template, excuse me, putting the fender in, marking it, drilling it, and then putting the fender or the template in there afterwards. It lined up well. I didn't have really any issues. Very clean. As I said earlier, I put a heat gun on that, conform it, kind of keep that bend going well. Very happy with this side. But I read all the instructions. I know, guys, it's hard for us. I'm going to do the passenger side rear real quick. That'll take 30 minutes or less now that I understand how everything works and the templates and, you know, what kind of flexibility I have, because I was trying to be as meticulous and detailed as possible just to make sure I did it the right way. Rokblokz did a really good job putting everything in there in an organized manner, making it easy. But you do the first one and it makes it real easy and quick, and it builds your confidence to go do the next one. All right, so we're on day 2 of the install, and that's only because I only have an hour or so to work. Actually day 3, because I piddled with it a little bit for about an hour yesterday, just adjusting, trying to make sure I got everything exactly as it should be, or I want it. Got a little bit of a dip right here, probably nothing to worry about, but I'm probably going to put a heat gun on it, get a little flexibility, try to keep it flat. I don't like having that. I don't know if you can see it with the camera, but there's a dip right there. So I've tried a few different things to make it work good. Most likely it's just my pickiness and wanting it to be perfect and meticulous. That's the beauty with the Gambler. I get to not care, and it's weird and it's awkward and it's a struggle at times, but it makes it way more fun. So with this thing though, I gotta get that band out. That's the thing that's driving me a little nuts. So, and I have it on both sides, so I think a little bit of heat and a little pressure here will fix that. So I'm about to start the front. One tip that Rokblokz gives us is probably bad lighting in here, is turn your wheels so you get enough clearance. The other thing is you have these bend marks here, and so I'm going to heat that up with the heat gun a little bit, bend it. They say to over bend it. It's not going to hurt it because it helps conform and keep it more clean and crisp looking. So I'm going to get started on that. A bunch of bad thunderstorms coming in, so I don't know if I'll have to go in the house and hang out and watch the news, or I can finish out here in the garage without too much of an interruption with the weather. So we'll see how the day goes. All right, so I've gotten a few of these mounting hardware installed. I got to relook at that one. I don't quite think that's right, but it helped to hold Fender in place to get it started, because based off the instructions, that's number 1, so you start there. 2 and 3. Now I'm working on hole 4 and 5. Obviously I got to move my clamp there to get to 5, but I went ahead and drilled the first hole, which would be 4 in this section, to help hold it in place. It helps keep everything aligned is what I've learned. So from doing hole 2 and 3, I might have an extra hole in the fender. Completely my fault, not anything to do with Rokblokz. So once I realized how bad I was off, which was probably an inch and a half, it was bad, pretty embarrassing. But y'all didn't see it, and you wouldn't know if I hadn't told you, so I could just edit this out and you'd never know. But once I put hole number 1 in place and just had that there to hold it, I was then able to line this up, drill a good hole, and make it work. And so that's the goal on the next side when I start the driver's side. Obviously I got to finish this one up. I've kept everything loose per the instructions. The instructions have been very good and detailed. My advice, read through them at least once before you start anything. It helps. They have it very meticulously detailed, step by step. It works very well. But I think it's good to read through them once. Guys, I know we don't like to read instructions. I get it. But for this, if you want your ride to look good and everything to be crisp and look tight, that's what you'll do. And that's what I tried to do here, is keep this as close to the corner as I could. Honestly, so far, I'm really happy how it's coming out.
All right, so this is hole number 6. I have to drill it out with a 5/16 drill bit. Trying to keep it centered there. So
it's drilled out, as you can tell. I'm going to insert this plug, little plastic retainer thing, and then I'm going to add this screw. Okay, this is per the instructions. Hopefully I'm reading them correctly, and it should work.
all right, to kind of give you an idea, so that's the new CV boot cover from Rokblokz. That's the factory one. So as you can tell, quite a bit of difference as far as the height and coverage of it.
Alright, so as I'm waiting for the storm to pass, I found a much better light.
Sadly, I should have known I had that because my beautiful wife got that for me for Christmas. So the guidance you get is to get them snug from Rokblokz. I'm trying to make sure I get them snug and not over tighten. It's a bit of a challenge. I may have over tightened the back ones, and that's why we have some bowing or warping or whatever you want to call it, but I gotta fix that.
Alright, so let's check out finished product.
So inside fender flares, bolted, all set up. I got some anodized hardware on the outside. Rokblokz says, hey, these things are tough, they'll take a beating.
We damn sure gonna put that to the test. Between Windrock and other places we ride, it's gonna get rough.
Here's the rear fender flares. The only thing I have an issue with is this dip. Yeah, you can probably see the dip a little bit there, but I could have them over tightened. This hardware has dents in them. On this side, very similar instance. I've got a dip there, but again, you can see where the hardware could potentially be over tightened. So that could be a user error, but aside from that, everything looks good. Everything's aligned, works well. Again, the anodized looks great. Very happy with how it came out. Aside from the dip. And honestly, the dip is probably a user error more than it is a Rokblokz issue. So I don't know when I've got a ride coming up. Got a lot going on. Don't have anything planned till end of February, which is about a month out, but maybe we can get something going before then. I rode it around through the neighborhood and stuff. I like them. They're not, they don't cover the tire 100% like some of the other fenders or fender flares, depending on how they're labeled. But I don't want 100% coverage. I really like the stance of the Turbo S. I didn't want to put fender flares on it or any type of fender extensions, but it was the right thing to do. My wife's sister's husband, he about lost his eye. When I ride, I get an earful, covered in mud on my left side, so I definitely want to reduce that. Our next install, some new brackets. Brackets, Big Hammer fabrication. They are cooler mounts and brackets, or mounts, or however you want to call them, and they're also a toolbox mount for the rigid toolbox. And then I have a couple items coming from Vivid Racing, so a blow off valve, which will be great, and a spare belt. I need a spare belt. Turbo S, that belt doesn't exchange between the XP and Turbo S. I need one, so got one of those coming. So some more install videos coming. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope this helps you out. Maybe it helps you decide whether you want to buy Rokblokz or another vendor, but you know, I'm happy with it. They look good. Question will be, do they give me enough coverage to make me happy? And we'll find out on my next ride. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.